This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is the website building platform that anyone can use to have a website up and running in minutes. Watch until the end of the video to learn more and get access to a special offer. In a recent video, I sung the praises of high-rep bodyweight training and high-rep training in general, choosing an exercise that is stable and either closed chain or isolated, and then progressing by adding reps rather than weight. This somewhat goes against the grain, with many people telling us that we can't build muscle with high-rep training. But there is ample science to explain just how this works. Go watch the video. And the response to that video was huge. Loads of people commented saying just how effective this has been for them, which has echoed my own experiences and those of others I've trained. Something everyone likes about it is just how simple and almost lazy it is. Do a bunch of push-ups and a bunch of dips and your pecs are golden. Sure, it's tiring, but at least it's straightforward. Go to failure and you only need 2 sets. It really is that easy, and it works for every body part. But that's where a lot of comments also asked how you might apply these concepts to other body parts. So here's a quick tour of how you can apply this training to each body part, with some advice on structuring your workouts thrown in for good measure. Pecs. As mentioned, high-rep dips are perfect for training your pecs, as are push-ups. This is a very easy one, though you could likewise use a chest press machine and get similar results. Use a rapid cadence and maintain pressure on the chest so that you feel the pump start to set in. A question that also came up lots is what counts as high rep? Well, that depends entirely on you and entirely on the exercise in question. So for dips, we might consider 20 and above to be high rep. For push-ups, perhaps 30 and above. But there are no hard and fast rules here, and it does depend on your goals a bit. It's just about going to failure and maintaining the tension on the target area. That's what will develop the strength and muscle size. So the only reason for some of you to make it high rep will be that you want to achieve the same thing as you would do with heavier weights, but with lighter weights or just body weight. But if you're more interested in the other good stuff like endurance benefits and improved blood flow, etc., then you might be interested in high rep for high rep's sake. And in that case, you might want to make the movement a bit easier, maybe doing assisted reps, for example, or push-ups on the knees, so that you can reach those higher numbers. In this case, really anything that also gets you a bit tired out is going to be doing the job. Shoulders. Pike push-ups work well for shoulders, although if I'm honest, I find them a bit awkward. I know other people like them more. I personally use slow, full range of motion and lower rep ranges when doing my pike push-ups. That's partly because I'm interested in learning hand balancing, and again, it just feels more natural for this exercise. And this is a key point. You don't have to only do high rep training or full ROM. You can pick and choose depending on the movement and your goals, or do both and you'll get compounding benefits. Just to be clear, I made a video about high-rep training. That doesn't mean I only recommend high-rep training. I get those comments on my kettlebell training videos too. People say, you didn't do all this with kettlebells. It's like, no, I didn't say I did. I just said kettlebells are good. I really like combining training styles. But if I had to pick just one that has given me, the most of my performance and gains, I would say that high-rep bodyweight training is it. What I find slightly better for this kind of training then is the kettlebell halo. So not body weight, but that circular movement makes it ideal for higher reps, and as you get to the higher reps, you're going to feel a tremendous pump and burn. It has brilliant benefits for opening up the shoulders too. Shoulder press on a resistance machine also works really well, keeping you safely locked in place so that you can ramp up the number of reps. Or do a drop set, which is epic. Triceps. Triceps get a big hit from dips and push-ups, especially if you alter your hand placement on the latter. But if you want something more targeted, you can try tricep dips. Some people say that this is bad for your shoulders, but that's not an issue if your shoulders are healthy and mobile. Just take a look at some of the crazy positions advanced calisthenics athletes can pull off with insane shoulder rotation. That said, if you are worried, or if you have weak shoulders, switch to a neutral position for your hand and it solves the issue. Tricep pushdowns are also great, and you can drop set these as well for extra credit. Lats. Lats are easy. You're going to be doing pull-ups, of course, and chin-ups. That said, seated rows work really well too, as do bodyweight rows. Ideally, do the pull-ups and one of these two, as that way you're getting a horizontal pull and a vertical one. I also like explosive bent kettlebell rows. Biceps. You know that I love the goblet curl for biceps. It takes a really great curve that's particularly well suited to high reps, while also mimicking the way we lift things up. Hammer curls are great too though, and what I like to do here is mechanical drop sets. Immediately switch from unilateral hammer curls to bilateral cheat hammer curls, as I'm doing here. It creates an intense pump. Also good at chin-ups, of course, and you can do this as well as the curls for some really swollen feeling biceps. Cable curls are great, and check out these dumbbell runners. These are particularly good because they get the biceps and the triceps at the same time. You don't get much range of motion on the triceps if you're using a heavy weight. It's kind of like a partial, but it does work. Traps. Pike push-ups, goblet curls and halos all hit the traps somewhat. But of course, you can also use shrugs or heavy carries. Heavy carries are static, but they're very effective at blowing up the traps in just the same way. Look, I'm sorry I didn't include footage of every single exercise here. I would ordinarily do these movements not in a single workout. But I know it's not good enough, and I will reprimand myself accordingly. Quads. For the quads, I highly recommend the Hindu squat. This is a squat performed on the toes, and if you're doing it properly, there's also an associated hand movement and breathing pattern. You can check out my full video on them for more. You'll feel an immense pump in the quads really quickly with these, especially going to higher rep ranges like 30, 50 or even 100, like the great wrestler Gamma. These also build strong knee tendons, and they're a great precursor to the sissy squat, and they offer a little benefit from the calves too. Build up to this, as with everything. When you're starting out, maybe holding onto something for support and using a partial range of motion will help to keep you a bit safer. Also great are leg extensions for high reps. This is how I fixed my mal-tracking kneecap many years ago, and I've helped other people do the same thing with the same movement. Of course, air squats are also really great. These are a bit more compound and you don't focus on the quads quite as much, but they're still fantastic for getting a considerable pump. You can also do the regular back squat if you want to add a bit of weight. This is a stable enough movement, to be fair, and it lends itself well. Just don't get so close to failure that you can't put the bar back. Racked kettlebell squats can be a good alternative for this reason. A leg press is also a very good option. Hamstrings and glutes. I actually use kettlebell swings for the glutes. And while it's a relatively short contraction, I find that they're just about regular enough to maintain the pressure on the glutes and to allow for a pretty good pump. Your mileage may vary. Alternatively, RDLs or stiff-legged deadlifts with the kettlebell can be a great option for training at higher rep ranges relatively safely, and they're especially good for hitting the hamstrings. Unfortunately, you pretty much do need a weight of some sort for training your hip hinge this way, but you can use a heavy bag if you don't have a kettlebell, or a dumbbell. High rep ranges for picking stuff up off the floor are underrated. And leg curls are also, of course, an option for hamstrings. Calves. Calves are straightforward again. Of course, you can do calf raises. You can do one-legged calf raises. I like to do 100 calf raises whilst I'm doing my teeth twice a day. Abs. For abs, there are tons of movements you can do for high reps. But crunches will get the job done. Don't listen to the haters. Crunches are great as long as you keep the focus on the abs. Don't use momentum to get yourself up, and don't make it into a hip hinge. Frontal plane movement. I think it's important that we don't forget movement in the frontal plane, so side-to-side movement. And side squats are a very good option to put in there. This might not look like much, but actually you'd be surprised how quickly it gets a pump when you go for higher rep ranges. That goes for all of this. You can always pick up a weight plate or a kettlebell for added challenge though. Rotation. Likewise, we need to make sure we're rotating. Bicycle ab crunches are one good bodyweight option, suitable for higher rep ranges. I think cable wood chop and the like work best with more moderate rep ranges. But you know what though? I actually get a lot of my rotational training from heavy bag training. It's not quite the same as high rep bodyweight training, but it's a good supplement to this style of training, making sure that I am moving in the rotational plane and I'm not becoming stiff and imbalanced. And that's something else I'd like to say about working out like this. While it does have a ton of amazing benefits, it can also make you a bit stiff if you don't pay attention to balancing everything out. If you're doing literally hundreds of push-ups and no pulling movements, for example, then of course you're going to end up hunched over. So however you're doing it, make sure you're moving in all the critical planes of motion. I also highly recommend combining this with a mobility routine. And actually, combining this style of training with full range of motion and higher weight, lower rep training can yield incredible results, hitting the muscles and energy systems in a variety of different compounding ways. That's what my training program, Super Functional Training 2.0, is all about. It takes this kind of training and adds more skills-based training, mobility, heavier lifting, and more, endurance, all in a way that's accessible to anyone at any level with any equipment, so they don't have to choose between being strong or mobile or having endurance. Link is in the description down below. Returning to the subject of higher rep training though, that's pretty much every body part and every major movement pattern covered. Just goes to show that this can work brilliantly for the entire body. In terms of structuring these workouts, I recommend aiming for just 2 sets. That's still a lot of volume, and remember that one of the big perks of this style of training is the relatively good stimulus to fatigue ratio. That said, you will be very sore the first time you ever try this, and the second, and the third, but after a few sessions, the recovery starts to come quick. I also recommend aiming for shorter rest times. 30 to 60 seconds is fine. That does mean you likely won't do as many reps in your second set for every exercise, but that's okay. Numbers are arbitrary, they don't matter. If you're taking it to failure, you're getting the benefits. This allows for more of that build-up in the muscle, and again, it also means we're getting in and out of the gym pretty quickly with a very simple routine. Doing PPL twice works really well, and to be honest, I mess around with it because some of the exercises, like the goblet curls and dips, I use during most workouts. That super high volume and frequency can do wonders, but only on exercises where that's not going to be an issue. Good luck with this style of training, guys. Ease into it, don't ego count, and let me know how you get on. I've heard countless people agree that this is a seriously slept-on approach to building big, functional muscle fast. Thanks for watching, guys, and bye for now. By the way, guys, this video was kindly sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is a website building platform that makes it extremely easy for anyone to build their own site with no coding skills required. Just choose a ready-made template and then customize it to your heart's content. Or let their AI tools help you build something completely bespoke from scratch. You can genuinely have a beautiful website ready in minutes, and from there you can start publishing. Or add a vast number of powerful features, such as search engine optimization tools, to help more people find your site on Google, appointment scheduling and invoicing so that you can sell a service and get paid by clients faster, gated members-only content, and much more. The simplicity and power is what makes Squarespace suitable for everyone, from solo entrepreneurs and creatives to huge corporations. And indeed, many of the biggest brands on the web choose Squarespace to power their businesses. If you want to learn more, go to squarespace.com. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/pioneer for 10% off your first domain or website. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and bye for now.